Okay, this is for Jaden. Jaden is trying to make the coil inside of a tape measure, and this is actually fairly easy to do. It's going to be a lot like a regular spring, but instead of using a circle, we're going to use a rectangle. I'm going to make the rectangle's midpoint aligned with the midpoint here, and I also want to say what the inside diameter might be, so I dimension to that. I don't know what your inside diameter is. You can measure that out there and say how tall the actual spring is. I think you have something that's about 0.5, and how thick this wire is. So these are the 3 dimensions that you would need to know. Okay, and as far as actually making the coil, we're going to use coil. For the axis, we're going to select the axis that goes straight up and down here. That would be, for me, it's my y-axis. For you, it might be something different. And it's starting to look like a spring. But over here for coil size, I don't have to pick pitch and revolution. I can pick spiral. The pitch is going to be how much it goes out for every 1 turn. I know I said it was 5/1000ths thick, so I can't do anything 5/1000ths or smaller. So let's try 0.01, and for my revolutions, I'll just see what it looks like to have 20 revolutions. This might give me an error. This might not be big enough. We'll see. Nope, that works. Okay, so there you have it. You can tweak these as needed, and if you really need to, you can always come in here and make a new sketch to make the inside just a little bit different. Oh, wrong way to put a sketch. Let me go back a step here. If you need to continue to make the inside different or the outside different, you could do that. You just have to find the original origin plane where you'd started. We'd make a new sketch on this and slice my graphics here, and just want to make this first one visible, which it does not want me to do. I'm going to go back to my 3D view here for a second, unslice my graphics. I'll project the geometry of this. My computer always slows down when I try and make videos, so hopefully it won't be quite this bad for you. Ideally, I want to sketch this exact same rectangle in the same place as before, and instead of having it coil out, I'd have it coil in, and just change what that pattern would look like. You could also choose to make a new sketch on top of this and show a different kind of a spiral on that. I'm going to pause it while it thinks. Alright, I'm back. So you can kind of see I was able to get that to highlight, zoom back out again, and finish my sketch, go back to make another coil. That's my only sketch. I'm going to still use the y-axis, but this time I'm going to change the direction that it's going. Instead of 20, I'm going to say 2. I want to look at the top here and see if I can get this to go inside instead of outside. Well, looks like it starts to, and then it gets bigger instead of smaller. If I make this number a negative, it doesn't like that. Alright, so then our other option, so we can make a sketch on top of this. And here, if you have some kind of funny hook shape, you should be able to put that in place can make coincident points with my corners. Make sure those line up with the previous geometry. If I make multiple arcs, I want to make them tangent to each other so I don't have issues with sketching later. And probably be smartest to just sketch out the one before finishing and doing the other. I think you end up with something kind of like this. Let's see if we can offset the whole thing. Okay, I want that corner and that endpoint to share the same, and then I want to close this shape off. Finish my sketch. I'm going to extrude. Just select this area inside of here, which it doesn't like because I never closed this. Let me go back into sketch mode. And now let's try to extrude. Huh, still doesn't like that. Well, this is not something it should have a problem with, so let's go to the sketch doctor, diagnose the sketch. It's going to check to see if there's anything that we forgot to close. It says we want these to be the same point. Yes, yes. And now it works. We want this to go the other direction. And instead of 1 inch, I think we set it as a 1/2 inch. Okay, so that kind of looks like the spring on the inside of a tape measure. Of course, you would need to count the number of coils and to figure out how close they are together. But I think that should get you a good way there. I'll also show you one last thing. I know, I thought I was done too. My computer thinks I'm done. We can make a new sketch on this end face here and just extrude it out. I'm going to pause while this thinks. Nope, never mind. It's done. So, if you wanted to make the end of this look different, you can just do a regular extrusion. Then you have a nice flat surface where you can come back in and make whatever cutouts you need to show how this is held on to the rest of the tape measure. And I don't have the part, so I can't show you what I'm trying to make this look like, but hopefully that gives you a good idea.